Good evening, football fans, and welcome to this edition of the Keystone Rivalry featuring the hosts, the Bethlehem Steel FC, and the visitors, Harrisburg City Islanders, in round 2 of this specific matchup. Thanks for joining us on this beautiful Memorial Day weekend. Tyler Terrens, along with former Virginia Tech Hokie Morgan Conklin. And Morgan, both teams coming off a loss and a tie in their respective last games. Should be a very open match.
And both teams playing their third game in 8 days. They're really going to have to grind this one out looking for 3 points.
And we'll jump right into our featured players. And first off, for Harrisburg, the visitors, Paul Wilson, going to be very important in the attacking third for Bill Bescher's squad.
Just a high percentage passer, really good work rate, works box to box. His only goal so far of the season came in the last meeting between these two teams on April 15th. Has really good vision. Watch him around frame. He plays a really nice final ball.
And for Brendan Burke's side, it's going to be Corey Burke, who we're going to keep an eye on, and he's going to be looking to combine with Sekou Kone and possibly get on the end of some crosses.
Usually when the two of them combine, Burke is underneath Kone. Tonight he'll be wide, starting out wide on the left. Look for him when the crosses come in to bring his run late from coming out wide. Usually he gets in the box centrally, but see if he brings that wide run coming in. They've missed that the past couple of weeks.
And we'll jump right into the starting lineup, starting with the visiting City Islanders. And a couple of injuries here and there in their previous game has forced Bill Bescher to make a couple of changes.
No Aaron Wheeler in the lineup tonight. Pedro Ribeiro gets to start in his place. He's second on the team with 9 shots. Also out for tonight, Cardell Benbow out with a hamstring injury that he suffered against Pittsburgh on Wednesday.
So due to those injuries, a couple of tactical shifts, as well as Jonathan Mendoza playing in a little bit more of a withdrawn role. So we'll see how that works out for Bill Bescher and the City Islanders, who are coming off a 0-0 draw against Pittsburgh. And now the starting lineup for the home team provided to you by Lehigh Valley Health Network. More of the same, a lot of youngsters getting an opportunity tonight.
Another one of those players, Dawson McCartney, gets his second consecutive start. Tonight he'll be an attacking midfield player. Also, Mark McKenzie steps in at center back, fellow academy player playing with his academy teammate Matthew Rial on the left.
And those two will both be playing their college ball at Wake Forest next year. It's going to be the Keystone Rivalry round 2 between Bethlehem Steel FC and the Harrisburg City Islanders when we come back. Don't miss it.
The first soccer ball was kicked in Bethlehem in 1904. Now, 112 years later, it's time for the rebirth of Bethlehem Steel FC. Herbert's in the box, and there's the first goal in Steel FC history. For tickets, visit BethlehemSteelFC.com or call 844-STEEL-FC.
Lehigh Valley Insulation keeps you cooler in the summer, warmer in the winter. And with 19 years worth of satisfied customers in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, we've probably insulated one of your neighbor's homes. Our team of older home specialists delivers swift and efficient white glove service, insulating attics, exterior walls, and virtually any under-insulated areas, saving wear and tear on your heating and cooling systems while adding value to your home and providing year-round comfort that pays for itself. Take comfort in Lehigh Valley Insulation. Comfort that pays.
You've lived with it for too long. That recurring joint or muscle pain that makes everyday tasks a strain and repetitive movement almost impossible. Put it off. The sooner you seek treatment, the more options you'll have. The faster you'll be back in full stride. The latest non-surgical solutions. The region's only nationally ranked program. That's orthopedics in action at Lehigh Valley Health Network.
Sara Lee Artisano. It's no ordinary bread. It's born from the question, what's next for sliced bread? And we quickly found the answer was an everyday artisan-style bread with wholesome, rich ingredients, as well as the soft texture you love, cut thick with a dash of flour dusting. Taste firsthand how Artisano turns even the simplest meals you make mouth-wateringly memorable. Sara Lee Artisano Bakery Bread. Make the routine remarkable.
Here at Goodman Stadium on the campus of Lehigh University for the second installment of this part of the Keystone Rivalry featuring Bethlehem Steel FC and the visiting Harrisburg City Islanders. Thanks for joining us. Tyler Terrens with former Virginia Tech Hokie Morgan Conklin. And Morgan, we should have a fantastic match on hand. Bethlehem coming off that brutal 1-0 loss against the Charleston Battery, who currently sit atop of the Eastern Conference. Harrisburg coming off a 0-0 draw against Pittsburgh. 3 draws in their last 3 games. Both teams really need 3 points at this point. Can we expect to see an open match?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I think both teams, you've said it, they need points in different ways. Harrisburg hasn't won since they beat Bethlehem in mid-April, so both teams really needing a win. Both teams playing good soccer, though, and just not being able to find a result. So definitely looking forward to this one, and it's going to be a good one right from the start.
Well, we had the pleasure of calling that Bethlehem-Charleston game where Romario Williams ended up scoring the game-winning goal in the 31st minute, as a number of supporters from Harrisburg have made the 80-mile trip or so across 78, part of the Capital City Crew supported group for Harrisburg City, as we are underway in round 2 of this part of the Keystone rivalry, as Bethlehem have been added to that trophy sort of mix, obviously having been in their second season with the USL, and now 3 teams in the USL reside in the Keystone State, and whoever has the most points at the end of the season in terms of playing against each other will be crowned the Keystone champion. And Bethlehem looking to get even with Harrisburg on the season, and 3 points would certainly do Brendan Burke's squad a lot of good, who, like you said, Morgan, have been playing really good football. And his quotes after the game was, it was very positive, just the sense that they're playing good football but just aren't able to combine in the final third of the way that they would like to.
Well, and there were some pros and some cons, obviously, from that game. He thought that they had some opportunities to serve the ball in. He said at times the service wasn't good enough, but when it was, he said we have to capitalize and we have to make the most of those chances.
Well, a couple of youngsters who got a start in Thursday's game getting another opportunity to run around, as Dawson McCartney and Matt Real were 2 who ended up getting starts. Real actually got a start against FC Cincinnati 2 games ago, got another start against Charleston. What did you see from those 2?
Well, they don't play as young as they are. I mentioned it in the game against Charleston. I think those younger players just bring a different energy. Noticed it a lot with Dawson McCartney in the middle. I'm interested to see him tonight in more of an attacking role, especially with Corey Burke out wide. So he's really going to have to kind of own that attacking midfield area. So I'm interested to see how he does, but he just brings a youthful energy. He works hard. Matt Real, great service, getting forward. He was really successful getting forward. I'd like to see that tonight, but I'm interested to see how Real and McKenzie work together as a pair on that left side of the back line. They're obviously used to one another, but it's a little different at this level.
Absolutely. Dawson McCartney, 18 years old. Matt Real, 17 years old. McCartney will go on to play his college ball at Dartmouth College, and Matt Real will play at Wake Forest along with Mark McKenzie, who you just saw get a touch on the ball. Those 2 are those 3 for that matter, all academy players within the Philadelphia Union system, and getting the opportunity here against the Keystone rival. This Harrisburg team hasn't won since that 3-2 win against Bethlehem almost over a month ago now, as McCartney applying some pressure and Harrisburg able to get out. It'll be McKenzie who gets a touch on the ball, paired up with Hugh Roberts in the back, and such a nice compliment for McKenzie, who's obviously very young, but Roberts has plenty of experience and extremely athletic, more than capable of covering the youngster McKenzie.
Well, and also they'll have help from Ken Trebet. You see him already dropping back in. He's playing in that central midfield role, but naturally he'll probably drop off a little more than Chambers does, just because he's used to being a center back. He's playing almost as a third center back right now at the moment. So definitely think McKenzie is going to be able to handle it, but he's also in good hands.
James Chambers will be pulling the strings in the middle of the field. You just saw that nice spray ball out wide for Aaron Jones, as Corey Burke dispossessed, or rather Sekou Kone dispossessed in the attacking third, and now Harrisburg will be on top of it. 3 ties in their last 3 matches against Pittsburgh, Charleston, as well as Richmond, and they throw in a U.S. Open Cup win against the Ocean City Nor'easters in the second round of the U.S. Open Cup. They will take on Reading United AC on May 31st, with the opportunity to play against the Philadelphia Union in the 4th round at Talon Energy Stadium. So a great opportunity for a number of USL teams heading into that next round, just to be able to get a test against some MLS squads. And that could certainly have something to do with the lineup as far as Bill Betcher's team is concerned. Aaron Wheeler not necessarily in the starting 11, but is available tonight off the bench. Good pressure here from Bethlehem. Nanko picks it up. Syracuse product has Mendoza nipping at his heels. There's Aaron Jones. Nice fizzing ball over to Burke, who somehow able to keep it in play and get it to his outside back Real. Now here is Corey Burke, our featured player, linking up with Chambers. Ken Trebet playing in a little bit more of an attacking role, chipping it ahead for Burke, trying to lay it off for the youngster McCartney. Had the right idea, but the execution was just a hair off. Olabi'i spraying it out wide. They were looking for Ribeiro up top, but Aaron Jones and company cutting it out nicely. Nanko has Muhammad climbing up his back, and it'll be a foul going the other way for Bethlehem. Again, coming off that extremely tough loss to first-place Charleston Battery a few days ago, as Nanko appears to have taken an extremely hard hit from Muhammad, as Captain James Chambers has some words for the head referee. Main official for today is Laurent Varga, as Chris Nanko gets a nice round of applause from the home supporters, and you can see there Muhammad completely climbing up his back.
Just clocked. Didn't even see him, feel him coming. Nanko down for a little. That's a tough take. I mean, you're not ready for it, and you just have someone come in, as you said, climb up your back, but it's good to see him okay.
Well, it'll certainly be a physical matchup between these two. Obviously, no love lost being in the same state, and it was a very dramatic game. And the last two times these teams played against each other. Here's Jones looking to send it into space. Sekou Kone latching onto the end of it. A little bit of contact, but no call from Varga. And it'll be a goal kick. And right off the bat, it just looks a little bit more direct from this Bethlehem team, who haven't had that big of a turnaround, or excuse me, they have had a big turnaround in terms of the small amount of hours that they've had between that game on Thursday. And something that Brendan Burke has been harping on is just being a little bit more direct in the attacking third and sending more numbers into the box, which we did not see against Charleston.
When especially early on, they need a good start, because this Harrisburg team, in their last matchup, had 2 goals within the first 30 minutes. So they have to have a good start, because Harrisburg is a team that can just respond quickly and right off the bat.
Here's Paul Wilson trying to slip it through for Ribeiro, but those two not exactly on the same page. And with the number of changes that have been made, not only personnel-wise for Bill Betcher, but just in terms of their tactical presence, it's going to be a little bit different. Not exactly the formation that Harrisburg has been playing for the majority of the season, but these are professional footballers, so they are expected to react and adapt accordingly. But it might take some time for Harrisburg to be able to settle into a rhythm. As Bethlehem in clear possession here. Trebet has that cut out momentarily by Mendoza, forcing Jake McGuire to come off his line and pick it up. McGuire did extremely well in the game against Charleston, keeping it a 1-goal game, but his teammates up top just weren't able to find the equalizer. Chambers showing a bit too much there to Mendoza, who goes in softly, which means that Chambers will hang on to it. The return pass for Chambers just out of his reach. And Dawson McCartney apologizing to the veteran captain in the middle of the field.
Early on, it's nice to see the movement from the midfield and going forward from Bethlehem. They have players around the ball, players moving off the ball to be open for passes. That was something they were a little stagnant through most of the game against Charleston, so it's nice to see that early on. Mendoza
with great pace, getting around Roberts. Lots of contact there. No call from the referee, Varga. And we'll play on, as you saw the pace from Mendoza just blowing by Roberts, who was able to shield him off right at the last. Trebet and Nanko on the far side. And they're trying to play Kone into that channel there on the far right wing, and why not use the big man's pace?
Especially when they pull Mohammed out. He stepped up to Nanko, but on the other side, Hugh Roberts, fantastic job just using his body. Maybe a little shove there, but referee didn't see it, so the play goes on. That's going to be a matchup to continue to watch with the speed there from Mendoza and Roberts. He was able to turn his speed on too, but at first, just watch that matchup with him, Mendoza coming up fast, and Roberts trying to play safely, but he's going to have to watch for that run through.
McKenzie finding the 17-year-old Matt Real. Corey Burke trying to hold off McLaws there. And it'll go back to the City Islanders, who have not won a game since April 15th against Bethlehem at FNB Stadium. Aaron Wheeler, Paul Wilson, and Cardell Bembo, the scorers for the City Islanders in that affair. Again, Bembo out with an injury, and Wheeler with a midweek massive U.S. Open Cup match coming up. Bill Betcher maybe giving him a rest since they've had 3 matches in the last 8 days. McLaw's trying to keep it in bounds, but the near side referee has his flag up.
This is a fast game early on. I kind of expected that, knowing Harrisburg will come out strong. Bethlehem needed a strong start, but it's just been pretty direct, which is good to see from this Bethlehem team coming off the last game. So I'm interested to see how it just continues on when it does settle in, but the movement from both teams has been pretty promising so far.
Well, as we mentioned before, both teams would really love 3 points today, and obviously in a Keystone rivalry, they're both going to try to go after it, as Harrisburg have been the masters of draws recently, having tied their last 3 matches, and would love to try and get 3 points again. Last 3 points came on April 15th against Bethlehem, so they are, for all intents and purposes, starving for 3 points. Bethlehem, before that loss to Charleston, came off tough 2-1 loss to FC Cincinnati. Long ball sent ahead for Burke. McLaw's in the neighborhood. It'll fall to Real, and they'll see it out of bounds. Trebet playing in a little bit more of an attacking role today, with McKenzie sliding into the center back position. McCartney trying to play a little 1-2 with Aaron Jones, but cutting it out was Mendoza, and then drawing the fouls. He's been very busy, or perhaps not Mendoza. Rather James Thomas, who was on top of it there. Real with a neat touch to get away from Mendoza this time on the near side. Cartney laying it off nicely for Trebet, and that was a neat build-up there from Bethlehem, but Sekou Kone expecting the ball at his feet there, and that seems to be a bit of an issue with Kone. Sometimes he's a little bit off the page with his midfielders, just in terms of whether he wants it at his feet or into space, because he's more than capable of playing both ways.
Well, it's obvious that that's their goal right now, is he's the target, and they're trying to play off of him, but it's, as you said, they're just not on the same page whether they're going to play him into space and move off of him or play him feet checking. So I think that's just a communication thing, but also it's what is Kone showing? Because he has to dictate it with his movement. So is he showing that he's going to run, or is he showing that he wants it at his feet?
Well, off to the races over here is Mendoza, laying it off for Ribeiro. Ribeiro going for the curler, but right into the safe hands of Jake McGuire, as he's seen much more difficult shots in the 8 appearances that he's made for Bethlehem thus far. And that'll go all the way back to Sean Lewis in between the sticks for Bill Betcher tonight, 25-year-old out of Rockford, Michigan. Played his college ball at Western Michigan and then transferred to Oakland University for his senior season. Here's Real. Along the line for Trebet, and now into space for Corey Burke, the Jamaican international. He's got Kone inside of the box. It's a good service, just out of the reach of Kone, and Lewis able to hang on to a good movement, though, from Bethlehem.
I love that little ball in by Trebet, just beautifully placed, perfect weight on it. Burke gets the ball to his left foot. Kone just a touch off. He has the run, just didn't quite get there in time, but I like the fact we're seeing a bunch of different things from this Bethlehem attack. We've seen them try to find Kone's feet. We've seen them try to find him into space, and then they spring Burke through. So it's different than what we saw the other day against Charleston. There's a lot more movement and just more players getting involved in the attack.
Well, it's certainly much more encouraging than what we saw from Bethlehem against Charleston, which was simply a lot of possession, but for the most part, meaningless possession. But this has been much more direct from Brendan Burke's side. Obviously, Charleston, one of the better defensive teams in the USL, so you have to take that into consideration. But at the same time, this just looks like a bit more different energy in the middle of the field, as Burke doing a good job here, being a pest on the back line.
Well, and after the Charleston game, Coach Burke said they connected 528 passes. He said we have to have more meaningful goal-scoring opportunities, and that's obviously been a goal coming into this game today. They've started off strong. They have the energy that they needed, and they're creating opportunities in different ways. So that's an even added plus.
Chambers has certainly been a nice addition to get him back in the squad for Brendan Burke after missing a number of games at the beginning of the season. This one sent ahead for Corey Burke. Able to keep it in bounds, and a neat little flick. Still Corey Burke on top of it, going for the shot, but it's blocked by McLaws. However, a great piece of individual skill for Corey Burke's highlight reel.
Beautiful 1v1, just the little flick over McLaw's head, but great defense by McLaws to stay with the play. Oftentimes when that happens, kind of takes you a moment to regroup and just understand what happened, but he did a great job staying with it and blocking that shot because Burke was in a really good spot on the corner.
Well, Burke certainly feeling himself early on as he's created a number of chances. As there you see some of the members of the Capital City crew showing their support, making the trip east on Interstate 78 over to southeastern Pennsylvania. Beautiful area surrounded by the Lehigh Valley Mountains. Goodman Stadium, one of the better venues in the USL. Playing host to this edition of the Keystone Rivalry again. Harrisburg were the winners of the first matchup back on April 15th. City Islanders trying to get out of a tight area. Nanko and James Chambers giving Thomas all that he can handle and then some. Mendoza looking for Thomas, or rather Muhammad on the far side, as Aaron Jones doing a nice job of shielding him out. Aaron Jones has been one of the steady eddies at the back for Brendan Burke, and while this has been an ever-changing environment and sort of a revolving door for Brendan Burke just in terms of who's going to be in the squad, he's somebody who's remained constant as this is great 1-2 touch football. Corey Back is sprinting on the back post. Here's Nanko. Nanko trying to slide it across. Burke unable to get onto it as the pass was behind him, and he is furious with Chris Nanko, who took a bit too long trying to slide that across.
And just a great first touch by Nanko to put him into space. He had the speed to go forward. I think he was a little indecisive. He either needed to wait a beat and keep the ball and shoot it himself or had to play that ball to Burke earlier. You could see the frustration on Burke's face, but he had that run that they needed, the run from the far post.
And here come the City Islanders on the other end looking to counter. Mendoza matched up 1v1 with Real. Ribeiro gets a touch to it as well as Mark McKenzie, who was in the neighborhood. It's great 1-2 touch football to break that high line that the City Islanders were playing, just unable to cash in, which has certainly been the story of Bethlehem over the past few weeks and probably on the whole for the beginning portion of the USL season. And here's Nanko again. And it looked like Kone was offside, now onside, dropping it back for McCartney. McCartney going to have a go with his left foot. It's blocked in front, and it falls for Trebet. Kone asking for it on the back post. It's a good teasing ball, forces Lewis off of his line. Cleared out as Paul Lewis trying to deal with it. Rather, Paul Wilson, and it will be a foul against Bethlehem as both teams vying for opportunities on either end. And like we expected, Morgan, this is a very open match early on.
And playing Nanko in twice. Two really good opportunities. I think just another miscommunication with Kone, not sure whether to play him. If Kone can pull his run wider, then it's obvious he's onside and it's an easier decision to make. But great opportunities going forward. Nanko really making his mark on this game.
Well, Nanko was certainly one of the members of the Bethlehem squad who were very dangerous in the game against Charleston, as he had a number of opportunities down the flank, and he continues that nice offensive prowess this evening. Olabi'i getting some touches in the middle of the field. Sent ahead for Thomas, who applauds the thought from his back line. And again, like you mentioned, Morgan Kentrabet coming all the way back, sort of playing like that third center back, very calming presence in the middle of the field, along with James Chambers.
Chambers does that really well also. He gets the ball off the center backs, comes really deep. So they both are bringing that to the game, but they do a good job. They've done a good job so far of balancing. So if one drops deep, the other kind of floats away. So they've done a really good job working together so far.
Again, Trebet playing in a little bit more of an attacking role with Mark McKenzie getting the start at center back. Trebet started at center back in the loss against Charleston on Thursday afternoon, an 11 a.m. kickoff after the 1-0 loss to the Battery, who currently sit atop of the Eastern Conference at the moment. City Islanders have been on their heels for a few early moments in this game. Here's Mendoza with some space on the right wing. Curled in ball from Wilson towards the back post. Chambers trying to deal with it as he runs out of real estate on the far side of Goodman Stadium. It'll be a throw into the City Islanders.
I like that little ball in by Wilson. Put a little too much on it. If he would have taken some of the weight off, it really would have made McGuire forced to make a decision. But I like that idea.
Here's Ribeiro trying to post up Roberts and link up inside of the area. But it'll go all the way back towards the City Islanders back line. McClaws Olabi'i finding Ribeiro, but a little bit too hot as he's somehow able to hang on to it. McClaws again. It's a nice whipped-in ball, and Aaron Jones doing very nice defensively, holding off Jamie Thomas. Very savvy play for number 19.
Tyler, you were talking about Aaron Jones earlier, just so solid in the back. He gets forward, but his defense is just always on point. He's smart. He makes good decisions. Good 1v1 defender, but just really good body placement on that ball in.
Aaron Jones, 23 years old, originally from England, as Ribeiro not exactly happy with his team's ability to connect in the final third at the moment. Jones spent the beginning portion of his college career with Georgia Southern, then eventually transferred to Clemson, where he was a standout with the Tigers. Lots of ACC flavor on the field for Bethlehem today. Here's Wilson with some space, but he's quickly closed down by Hugh Roberts, who read the situation from the get-go.
Hugh Roberts does a really good job covering there. It's a bad giveaway from McKenzie, but Bethlehem still cannot break this Harrisburg pressure. They're organized. They're high up the field. It's difficult to break, and it gives Harrisburg the ball back in a really good position with numbers going forward.
Olabi'i. Barrow with a neat little touch, trying to find Thomas. Not McGuire's best clear, but it ends up working out for the better. Bethlehem struggling here to get the ball out of their own end as they're trying to link up and play that quick little 1-2 touch football, but City Islanders' back line has fallen back a little bit.
And also the weight of the passes. It almost looked like they were trying just to clear it long, which if so, they have to get air under the ball to be able to get it past the players, but they kept it low, so it was difficult to trap, and then just an easy giveaway to Harrisburg.
Here's Muhammad overlapping. Sustained pressure here from the City Islanders. The Brazilian Calvano. The Oklahoma native McClaws. Ribeiro trying to leave it off, and you can see what the City Islanders are trying to do. Everything is going towards Ribeiro, and they're just trying to play quick little one-touch football off of him. As here's McCartney finding Trebet. Now out wide for Burke, who is not able to keep it in.
Well, and what they're trying to do also is try to turn the ball over quick and go quickly in transition. So when they have that high line of pressure, they're trying just to pick it off. And then, as you said, find Ribeiro and move quickly.
Into the 23rd minute here at Goodman Stadium, Tyler Terrens along with former Virginia Tech Hokie Morgan Conklin. And Morgan, this is more or less what we expected, a relatively open match. Both teams really need 3 points at this point after a couple of dropped points in their previous games, and it's been a very good pace so far.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised with the early press from Harrisburg. They've had a couple good starts, especially against Bethlehem earlier this year. I've been very impressed with the start from Bethlehem, especially the numbers they got forward, the options they had going forward. I think that was definitely an improvement from the game the other day against Charleston.
Krasnenko holding up a thumbs up over to Corey Burke, who was looking for the big sweeping ball, just trying to keep the City Islanders back line on their toes. It's Calvano again. All the way up the line for McClaws, who's got some space to gallop into. McClaws finding Mendoza. Trying to drop it back for McClaws, who gets the shot on goal, and it's saved by McGuire. There were a couple of players in front who were screening McGuire and may have altered his vision a little bit, but stay able to hang on to it. And number 29 with another big save.
Great job getting low by McGuire. Nice little slip up back from Mendoza. Corey Burke knows he cannot get around. He can't block that ball there, otherwise it's going to be a foul. Does a good job of just trying to get in the way along with Mark McKenzie on the other side, but a really good save by McGuire. As you said, there was a lot of traffic in front of him.
Real unable to keep that one in bounds. Want to go back to the City Islanders, who continue to ask questions of the Bethlehem back line. Harrisburg have clean sheets in 3 out of their last 4 matches. They only won a 2-2 draw against the Battery at FNB Field. And it really has been decent results for the City Islanders. They just haven't been able to find that breakthrough to get 3 points. I mean, a draw against Charleston is a very good result. A draw against Kickers as well, same story, but just unable to find that goal as the attacking third has really let them down early on.
And that's really just what's been their trouble is not being able to find the back of the net. Only 2 goals in their last 3 games. Haven't been able. They have the build-up. They have the players to do so. They have the chances. They just haven't been able to put any away. But on the other side of that, there's been some great defensive games. As you said, look at the teams that they've gotten draws against. Tough teams. Charleston. I think any team will take a draw against Charleston.
Absolutely. At this point, that team is on an absolute tear. Romario Williams and company terrorizing the Eastern Conference for everything they're worth. As they came to Goodman Stadium, and Bethlehem put up a very good fight and were on the ball more times than not, but like Harrisburg, just unable to find the back of the net. McCartney trying to skip away from Calvano and does so nicely. Now trying to chip it through is a good idea, and him and Kone, the past 2 games so far, have not been on the same page, but they are in the same chapter. It's very close between those two as they'll continue to try to link up. Here's Ribeiro, not exactly fleet of foot, but trying to get a steady foot on the ball. Shoved off by McKenzie, who was doing nicely here. Mendoza getting in on the mix, and it will be a foul against Ribeiro.
Good job by McKenzie, just fighting through the tackle there. 2 big players going against each other, McKenzie and Ribeiro, fighting for the ball, but just nice effort staying with the play.
Jones pass cut out by Nishanian. Nice penetrating pass from Aaron Jones, and now back for Trebet. Chambers spraying it across for Matt Real. Burke doing a nice job of holding it up, trying to get it over to Kone. He's onside. Chip ball towards the back post. It's a good opportunity, but coming flying in. Looked like it was Muhammad who got to the ball first, as he is down and injured after that play. Good opportunity there for Bethlehem, though.
Nice little ball in from Burke to Kone. Has enough time to pick his head up. Tries to find Nanko on the far post. Dabo comes all the way across. A beautiful clearance. But that's, Mohammed. But that is just a difficult fall. Lands right on his backside.
And that was by no means Muhammad's mark. He's playing outside back, so he came all the way back across, reading the situation very nicely. So a big defensive play. Bethlehem, something straight off the training ground. It's a good ball in, but the offside flag is up on the far side after Corey Burke had put it into the net. Nicely designed play, though. You
can see Calvano just very frustrated with his team right now, trying to tell them, watch your mark, stay with them, because both Burke and Kone were wide open right around the 6. So Captain Calvano not happy with that one, needs his team to be more organized.
Well, when you see Kone and Burke play, you're obviously amazed at their physical stature, but something that I would love to see a little bit more from them, and you can agree or disagree with me, but is just trying to find their heads. I mean, they're 6'2", 6'3". They can match up with these center backs aerially, and that was a good set piece just to try to utilize their size.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that depends on the width that this team has. Obviously, with Burke playing wide, he's going to be sending in the service more so to Kone, but I mean, I completely agree. I think they have the size to do so. They have the technical ability to know where the ball's going. They're soccer smart enough to know where to put their body and where to hold their runs. But I think this Bethlehem team doesn't rely just on crosses all the time, so I think those opportunities don't come as often as some other teams who serve the ball in more often. I think Kone really truly plays as a target, and he tries to spin when he can or lays off. But I think if the time comes, they're definitely players that have the ability to put the ball away, whether it's with their head, with their foot. They're good around frame.
Sekou Kone, when he gets the opportunity, he can be deadly in front of net. We saw him with a brace earlier on this season. Mendoza slipping it through for Thomas with a tough task here against McKenzie, who has a couple inches as well as a couple pounds on him. And it'll be a City Islanders throw in deep in Bethlehem territory, as we certainly have gone back and forth in the opening 29 minutes here at Goodman Stadium. McClaws coming up to take the throw in. Olabi'i doing a good job holding it up. Harrisburg forced to go all the way back, and you can see Calvano again, not exactly thrilled with the pass that he had to go and chase. Claus just trying to flick it on. Real getting a toe in there. 17-year-old up strong for the header. Ball through for Thomas. Has to deal with Roberts first. Somehow gets it across the face of goal as Maguire was sprawled off of his line. And it'll be Aaron Jones who clears it, but Jamie Thomas almost making something out of nothing.
Really nice run through there, making Hugh Roberts stay with him, keep his eye on where Thomas is. Beautiful run and good sight to see the ball and play Thomas through, because that's a difficult run to stop and a ball to stop if you time it perfectly with the player running through the center backs. But a good heads-up play by Roberts just to see where Thomas is and stay with it.
It was great effort from Thomas, just unfortunate that he didn't have any buddies on the back post to try and slot that one home. Probably thought the play was gone, as here's Matt Real moving into a dangerous area. McCartney. Now Trebet. Nenko trying to split two defenders, as Muhammad did nicely. Here's Olabi'i leading the charge. Mendoza and Ribeiro not on the same page there. As we've seen lots of good ideas early on, but both teams, maybe due to sort of the change in personnel from this game, from comparison to their last game, just not exactly in sync.
Yeah, there's been a lot of passes that just haven't come off, or a player wants it to feet and the ball goes to space. There just hasn't been that connection, and I'm not sure if that's a communication thing or just players not looking to see where somebody wants the ball. But I think at least the key part is the idea is there. I know in some of these games, especially for Bethlehem, the idea hasn't been there at all. So the fact that they have the right thought, I think building it is obviously then the next step.
Well, both teams looking to take the next step, as both of them are on the outside looking in as far as the playoff picture is concerned. And while it is extremely early to be talking about that, it is what they're playing for at the end of the day, and it's hard to ignore the standings, as Chambers called for a foul there on the number 10 for City Islanders, Paul Wilson. Harrisburg electing to play early here. Bethlehem really sitting in deep here, allowing the City Islanders to build up. McClaws through for Mendoza. Opportunity building. Ribeiro was open, and cutting it out was McKenzie right at the last, as he did very well to read that play. But the City Islanders will stay on top of it. Out wide for Muhammad. Early delivery right into the hands of Maguire, and Bethlehem will be able to push up.
Ribeiro frustrated with that one. You could see him put his hand up way before Muhammad even sent the ball, and he wanted it curled even more, whipped more towards him so he could try to get in front of it. But Ribeiro's had a lot of good build-up chances. He had a really nice ball through to Mendoza a little earlier, doing a good job of playmaking, but also being the big, dangerous body in the box.
Here comes Corey Burke on the other end. Nice sliding challenge from Calvano that ends up finding the feet of Wilson. Wilson looking to operate quickly, cut out by Hugh Roberts. It's not exactly Ribeiro's forte there, being sent into space.
Especially by himself.
Absolutely. Burke trying to get away from McClaws, using his pace, just sending it into an area and able to run onto it. But McClaws doing a great job of recovering, and he's been beat a couple of times by Corey Burke, but like you said earlier, Morgan, has not given up and stayed with the play very nicely.
And it's difficult because Burke takes that really good first touch, and his strides are so long, it's difficult to stay with him when he gets that big first touch, but McClaws has done a great job of staying with it and winning the second ball, or staying with it right there. Burke tried to cut it back, and McClaws was in the right position. So if Burke can get by him on the first touch, he needs to continue to blow by him and beat him, because McClaws has shown that he's going to be able to recover and be in a good position.
Chambers looking for Kone there, as it was in between Corey Burke and Sekou Kone, a tweener, if you will. Over a half an hour gone here at Goodman Stadium, 0-0. Tyler Terrens along with former Virginia Tech Hokie Morgan Conklin. Second edition of the Bethlehem Harrisburg installment. Going all the way out wide for Muhammad. And Muhammad sees that one go out of bounds right in front of the East End Army. Great support group of the Bethlehem Steel. We're letting Muhammad hear it a little bit on the far side. Starting to get a little bit of rain here at Goodman Stadium. And it was certainly slick conditions in the game against Charleston, which ended up playing a little bit of a role in the final result as Romario Williams was able to keep a strike very low, as well as a deflection from Hugh Roberts that ended up being the game winner. As Wilson looking to spread it through for Mendoza. McGuire off his line. Real's there, and Real is able to recover as that was a dangerous and nervy moment for Bethlehem. Mendoza was right on the doorstep.
Beautiful recovery there by Real, staying nice body position to be able to turn out of pressure with right around his 6, which is extremely difficult. McGuire still getting back into position.
It's going to fall for Ribeiro. He's got some space here, matched up with Real. Ribeiro with a fake shot, but Real doing very nicely on the defensive end. And it's safe to say that the Demon Deacons have a very nice product in Matt Real.
Beautiful run by Mendoza. McGuire doing a good job coming out, getting big, but Real just staying with the play, dropping with his mark, able to clear the ball out. Mendoza and Thomas have been so dangerous so far this game with their runs, splitting the outside backs and the center backs, coming from both sides of the field. Those split runs have been on a couple times, and it's put them in dangerous positions.
Well, they've been linking up with Ribeiro very, very well in the attacking third, as here's the corner from Mendoza going towards the back post. Jones gets a flick on, and it'll stay with Harrisburg. And Ribeiro has really occupied one of the two center backs, if not both, more times than not. And that leaves a lot of space open for the pacey Thomas and Mendoza, for that matter, to be able to just split the center backs and run into a lot of space.
Yeah, and they're coming from those attacking mid-wide rolls. They're not far wide on the touchline, but they're more central, so they're able to just really shoot through those gaps.
McClaws along the sideline for Mendoza. First time service, not his best, cut out by McKenzie. Good header from McClaws to keep Bethlehem in their own end. Both teams looking to get back in the win column here. Harrisburg haven't won since April 15th against Bethlehem. Bethlehem, on the other hand, coming off 2 tough 1-goal losses to FC Cincinnati as well as Charleston. Here's Aaron Jones into some space for Kone. Nice footwork from Kone to hang on to it. Jones again. Looking for an option, decides to just deliver it into an area. Chambers up for the header to poor clearance. Chambers with the shot, and Chambers scores. James Chambers with a massive goal in the 39th minute. Bit of a mistake at the back for Harrisburg, but it's 1-0 in the Keystone Derby.
And who else but James Chambers now is the leader in starts for Bethlehem, just stays with the play, goes up for the first header, no shot of that one going in, keeps his eye on the ball, puts his body in a position to finish the second ball, follows it up. What a great finish.
And you could see what it meant to Chambers, who hasn't scored since September 18th of 2016 against Pittsburgh Riverhounds in a Keystone Derby match. So this is a guy who really loves the Keystone rivalry, and putting his team up 1-0 in the 39th minute. So a great moment for Chambers. And it was really a heads-up play from Jones, who saw that he didn't have any option to play to feet, just delivered the ball into the box, and Chambers really did a nice job of elevating. He ended up getting lucky in terms of the ball falling to him, but made no doubt about the finish.
Well, the initial ball that set all of that up was Aaron Jones having a direct ball into Sekou Kone, who then laid it back out, and then they were able to go back in. So by Kone getting that ball and playing it back out, it dragged a couple defenders. So Chambers was able to then make his run and get inside, and they could build from there. So that's some of the movement they were missing against Charleston on Thursday, and it's nice to see Chambers in the scoring column.
Here comes Harrisburg trying to counter on the other end. for Thomas, who's onside, takes a touch towards the byline, squaring it back across, but it's cut out by McKenzie right at the last. It's a back-breaking goal, if you're the City Islanders, just right before halftime. But a stupendous goal if you're on the Bethlehem side of things. Thomas going on the other side for Mendoza, and with those slick conditions, the ball's starting to skip a little bit more. Calvano advancing a little bit further than the center back normally would here, but finding Mendoza. Whipping the ball in. Ribeiro trying to bring it down, looking for an avenue to take a shot. It's blocked in front. And Corey Burke coming back to play his defensive duties and taken down in the process, so it'll be a free kick coming for Bethlehem.
Well, and just because it's right before the end of the half does not mean this Bethlehem team is out of the woods yet. Just the pressure coming from Harrisburg continues. Mendoza with another great ball in. He's shown he can make those runs central. He can pull wide and whip in a really good cross. Able to find Ribeiro there. Nothing came out of it, but just good play from them. A nice cross in and then a target Ribeiro, who's able to turn within the 18 and get a look on frame.
So James Chambers getting his first goal of the season, first goal since September 18th of 2016. And what a time to score here in the Keystone Derby. It's Aaron Jones, who was the orchestrator of the Chambers goal a few moments ago. And it'll stay with Bethlehem as their support group starting to sense that 2 goals may be in the bag here for Bethlehem before they head into the dressing room for halftime.
Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information,
Nanko dispossessed. A lot of work to do here for Harrisburg, but they do very nicely to come out of trouble.
Smart play by Trebet to keep that ball from getting to Wilson's feet, because if Wilson can turn with the ball at his feet and dribble at the back line, that puts this Bethlehem team in a tough position.
Well, Bethlehem, with all the confidence and the attacking prowess that they've had early on, are throwing a lot of numbers forward, but as most football fans will know, leaves them very exposed. Here's Jamie Thomas. Referee says play on. Ribeiro turning, looking for an option. Olabi'i in on the mix, but it's Matt Real who comes away with it. Bethlehem off to the races. Real waiting for the cavalry to arrive. Fancies a 1v1 matchup here. Very nice defensive play from Mohamed Dabo, who's been doing the dirty work in the middle of the pitch for Harrisburg early on. Ribeiro coming very deep to receive that one. Now here's Thomas with some room. Mohamed to his left, that's who he chooses. Mohamed and Jones matched up. Bit of a miscue there from Mohamed, who cuts it out, but it stays with the City Islanders. Just a few minutes before halftime now. McClaws looking for the big body Ribeiro, but it's cut out. And now here's McCartney. Kone trying to hold it up. Kone a bit too lackadaisical there as he's dispossessed. And a number of midfielders were looking to get in on the action on the other end, and now Bethlehem's exposed. McClaws out wide for Mendoza, needs to keep it in play first. Does so. Cross towards the back post, nobody home for Harrisburg. Olabi'i able to latch onto it. Another early delivery. It's been a good matchup early on. Mendoza and Real slipped through from McClaws. And it's another good delivery from McClaws, but nobody home for Harrisburg yet again, as Ribeiro seems to be making that front post run, but nobody complimenting him on the back post.
Well, another option he had once Mendoza played McClaws, he had Thomas coming in central, kind of. If it was a diagonal ball back, Thomas is in a good position with no one around him. He just has space. He's able to then either take a look on frame or send in a short cross from a different area. But I think at that point, McClaws was just zoned in on hitting the cross, because if you have a target like Ribeiro, he's going to be somebody you're trying to find.
But one of the best moves that we saw from Harrisburg early on was the give and go with McClaws and Mendoza when Mendoza just simply laid it back off for McClaws, who was making that darting run, and that was giving Bethlehem a different look here. But Harrisburg has sort of fallen into the trap of just constantly sending service over and over again, and it's made it very predictable for Bethlehem.
That's why the little slip ball back would have been on.
Almost a neat little touch there from Nanko, but it falls right into the hands of Lewis. So the Islanders looking to equalize before halftime. 2 minutes of stoppage time here in the first 45 minutes. So we'll play to 47. Or to whenever Laurent Varga says we'll play here in Lehigh University. Mendoza trying to lay it back, but a good step from Trebet. Return ball for Trebet out of his reach. If you're just joining us, James Chambers strike in the 39th minute right now. The difference between these two Keystone State teams. Jones with a miscue there as he gives it away to Wilson in a dangerous area. Bethlehem left back pedaling. Here's McClaws. Finding Mendoza. City Islanders being very patient here as Corey Burke coming back. Wilson still able to hang on to it. Now finally dispossessed, and it's Real who comes away with it. Bethlehem would be very happy just to see this one out and head into the dressing room up 1-0. McClaws trying to slip it through for Thomas, but the offside flag is up. And crisis averted for Bethlehem, but Thomas and Mendoza's movement off the ball has been very impressive thus far.
Well, Tyler, crisis averted for now. Those runs have proven to be so dangerous. I think at that point Thomas was off just by a hair, but that run through, the splitting the outside back and the center back, or the two center backs coming from both sides, has been so dangerous. And McGuire has had to be quick off of his line because those runs are coming in so quickly.
Well, McGuire certainly a very good shot stopper, and you have to be at this level, but very confident in coming off his line. And another person who should be confident is Brendan Burke, as his side is up 1-0 at the half. James Chambers, who's having a conversation with the referee, is the goal scorer and the difference maker at the moment, as the Irish native did extremely well to put Bethlehem up as they have a 1-0 lead in this second edition of the Bethlehem-Harrisburg part of the Keystone rivalry. We'll have stats, highlights, and oh so much more when we come back. At the half, it's Bethlehem 1 and Harrisburg 0.
Or in a snap. If joint or muscle pain has taken you out of the game, we can identify the root cause of your problem and develop a sport-specific treatment plan to get you moving again. Over 400 medical experts strong, the region's only nationally ranked program. That's Orthopedics in Action at Lehigh Valley Health Network.
The reason we got into the heating and air conditioning business was for the families. Throughout the years, we've built our family of trained technicians and employees. I love being able to meet with our customers for quotes because I can make sure D&D delivers exactly what they need. I'm proud to be the third generation owner of D&D Heating and Cooling, and I'm proud to have my family right by my side. Call our family for a free quote today.
The Philadelphia Union are off to the races. And Philadelphia have the lead. There it is. Oh, what a beauty! Just 2 minutes on the board. Perfect start for the Union.
For tickets, visit PhiladelphiaUnion.com.
What's sweeter than playing Mother's Day with top prizes of $50,000? How about winning on the spot? Play Mother's Day, the new scratch-off from the Pennsylvania Lottery, and you could win on the spot. Keep on scratching. What's more exhilarating than playing $100,000 club with top prizes of $100,000? Winning on the spot. Yeah! Play $100,000 club, the new scratch-off from the Pennsylvania Lottery, and you could win on the spot. Keep on scratching.
Halftime at Goodman Stadium on the campus of Lehigh University, and it's the home side, Bethlehem, who have a 1-0 lead over the Harrisburg City Islanders. Tyler Terrens, along with former Virginia Tech Hokie Morgan Conklin. James Chambers' strike in the 39th minute is the difference maker right now, and we'll take a look at the halftime stats. And Morgan Conklin, you surprised by anything up here?
Not really. I think it's been pretty even. I think both teams have had great chances. Bethlehem came out really strong. I am, I guess, a little surprised to see they only have 3 shots, only one of which being on target, which was their goal. I think they had a lot more dangerous buildups, which that was a goal for them coming into this game, was to be more dangerous and to have more of a purpose going forward. I think if they can get more shots on frame, that'll be a plus for them. Harrisburg has been dangerous going forward. Those runs coming through by Thomas, Mendoza. I think if they continue to do that, if they can connect, whether it's the crosses or the balls coming back, I think that's really going to put them in a good position.
Well, both teams really looking for 3 points here today, and that obviously goes for any football match, but both teams coming off either losses in ties or in their last game, as they're having lots of fun here at Goodman Stadium on this Memorial Day weekend, and we hope you are too. 1-0 at the half, and we'll take a look right now at a beautiful feature put together by none other than our own Morgan Conklin on Dane Kelly. Let's take a look.
Here is my handle and here is my sound.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh.
It only takes a moment to make a moment.
Cheers.
Take time to be a dad today.
We've raised the stakes. Expectations are high. Our biggest season yet will break records. Elite players and future stars. Innovative technology and new homes. We're growing the game in our community and across the nation. Are you ready?
The USL all-time leading scorer has added another accolade to his resume.
Here's Kelly. And he's got the hat trick. Dane Kelly has done it again. Back-to-back games. 3 goals for Kelly.
Dane Kelly is now the only player in USL history to score back-to-back hat tricks. Kelly notched his first 3-goal game in Reno's first win in club history.
Carries the ball ahead. Into an attacking position. He scored in the 2nd minute.
Together before they get another goal.
Brown Kelly, that's 2 in 6 minutes. Kelly, he steps over and he puts it in off the post. That is a hat trick in the 66th minute.
The second occurred in front of a home crowd leading Reno to their first ever win at Greater Nevada Field.
Brent Richards finds Kelly, and Jane Kelly! Goal! Kelly finds net again! Here's Kelly. And he's got the hat trick! Dane Kelly has done it again!
Kelly was honored with 2 USL Player of the Week recognitions following his back-to-back performances. For USL Network, I'm Morgan Conklin.
Halftime at Goodman Stadium. Bethlehem up 1-0. All smiles on the Bethlehem side of the Keystone rivalry as the fans are enjoying some Memorial Day weekend festivities. We'll have first half highlights and second half kickoff when we come back.
Can you feel it? That vibe. It's here on America's best beaches. Feel it in unique mashups of amazing, crazy, and wow. So within every moment, you live amplified. St. Pete Clearwater, solar powered and radiating 1,000,000 megawatts of possibility. Dive in deeper at liveamplified.com.
No lengthy disclaimers with paragraphs of fine print here. Just honest pricing. 25 megabit per second high-speed internet and economy cable with over 85 channels, only $49.99 per month. No contract, no modem rental fees, no data caps, free DTA. Take the game and Service Electric with you on your mobile device with TV everywhere. Over 60 channels currently available, including TV2, and the list is growing. Use the Service Electric app or go to sectv.com for details.
You've lived with it for too long. That recurring joint or muscle pain that makes everyday tasks a strain and repetitive movement almost impossible. Put it off. The sooner you seek treatment, the more options you'll have. The faster you'll be back in full stride. The latest non-surgical solutions. The region's only nationally ranked program. That's Orthopedics in Action at Lehigh Valley Health Network.
In search, over, put it home, and the Union lead.
Back here at Goodman Stadium. 1-0 for Bethlehem in this Keystone rivalry. Second edition between Bethlehem and Harrisburg. James Chambers' strike in the 39th minute is the difference maker. Tyler Terrence with Morgan Conklin on this Memorial Day weekend. And early on, Morgan, there were chances for both teams wide open play in the opening moments.
Johnny Mendoza getting forward, playing a nice ball back to Rivero, who gets one of the first looks on frame for Harrisburg.
And then it would be Corey Burke coming back the other way, and Corey Burke was feeling himself early on.
Nice little flick, but good defensive play by McClaws to stay with the ball and not allow a shot off by Burke.
Both teams would trade chances back and forth, but this was a really great chance for Bethlehem. Nanko just a touch off trying to get it over to Burke.
So good with his speed going forward, and then on the other side, Mendoza once again pulling it back to McClaws, forcing McGuire to get down and make the save.
McGuire had to make 2 saves in the first half as Hone would try to find Burke and just unable to. Muhammad with a nice little header there, and then Thomas on the other end making nothing out of something. And then we would continue to go on, and this would be the goal from Chambers. And it was a really good strike, but a bad mistake at the back from Calvano.
Just a poor clearance there. Didn't clear the ball. Chambers stays with it, keeps his eye on the ball, and is able to finish it and put his team up 1-0.
All smiles at Goodman Stadium from the East End Army, as that's going to do it for the first half highlights, as the City Islanders certainly have a couple of tough tests coming up. They're on the road at Ottawa, at Charlotte, and then they're home against the Bethlehem Steel. The third edition of the Keystone rivalry between those two teams, and it's not getting any easier for the City Islanders after this game at Goodman.
Yeah, and that'll be the last matchup, that Bethlehem matchup on the 20th. That'll be the last matchup between the two teams, so this is a big game, but I know they'll definitely have that one circled on their calendars as well.
Absolutely. City looking to equalize here in the second half, as they have not won a game since April 15th against Bethlehem, so City really looking to get 3 points in this match or the ones upcoming in the future. They'll have opportunities at Ottawa and at the Independence, as well as a U.S. Open Cup match on May 31st against Reading United AC, as that should be a fantastic game with the right to play the Philadelphia Union on the line. And for Bethlehem, they're also going to be playing Ottawa, albeit at home, and then they're going to go on a road trip, and those are a lot of tall tasks in front of them.
Yeah, tough games at St. Louis, at New York, and then that game at Harrisburg. So definitely a tough stretch for them, closing out their short homestand and then back on the road.
And then at the end of that schedule is against one of your favorite teams in the USL, the Richmond Kickers, being your local flavor. It should be an interesting matchup between those two teams, as Richmond and Harrisburg have played to a tie earlier this season. So Bethlehem will get a crack at Richmond on July 1st, as the Steel looking to get back into the swing of things. And like we've said earlier, they're playing really good football, and they'll have a lot of good opportunities in front of them to try and put that good football into tangible results, just simply meaning putting the ball in the back of the net.
And this is a good start for them right now if they can keep this result and continue to build going forward.
And entering today, these are the Eastern Conference standings, and the Charleston Battery, who are juggernauts at the moment, continue to top the Eastern Conference. Tampa Bay Rowdies nipping at their heels. Any dark horses you like coming out of the Eastern Conference this year?
I really think Cincinnati and Louisville, and Pittsburgh, I think those three who, with 15 points, I think all three of those teams really have the opportunity to kind of go on a run. We have the Cincinnati-Tampa Bay game coming up on ESPNU in July. I think that's going to be a really good matchup with both teams doing pretty well so far this year. That's a rematch of a game earlier this season. So I think those three teams, but I think Cincinnati, they just have a lot coming up.
And on the bottom of those standings is also the Charlotte Independents, who have a lot of points but also have a lot of games in hand, so they're just trying to get back into the swing of things. And now we'll take a look on the other side of the Mississippi River in the Western Conference, and San Antonio is somebody who has been playing really, really good football. They're on top of the Western Conference, but don't sleep on Real Marnock's SLC, because they have been playing very good attacking football as well.
Yeah, and I don't think you can sleep on Phoenix Rising either. Right, Tyler?
Absolutely. I'm a big advocate for Phoenix Rising. We'd love to see Didier Drogba on the field at some point.
Making his debut.
Absolutely. June 10th should be the debut for Didier Drogba, as we're just moving through halftime here at Goodman Stadium. As you see, Ken Trebet and Aaron Jones, part of the defensive unit for Brendan Burke, who has shut out Harrisburg thus far. Jamie Thomas has been on the mix on a couple of occasions, as the fans here at Goodman Stadium enjoying some friendly football on a Sunday afternoon, as Bethlehem looking to claim all 3 points in this part of the Keystone rivalry. Again, they lost to Harrisburg at Harrisburg 3-2 on April 15th. This would be a great way to respond, and somebody who has been right in the mix of everything and has the goal for Bethlehem is James Chambers, and he has really been so solid for them in the middle of the field since coming back, and it really felt like only a matter of time before he got on the score sheet.
And just really the heart and soul of this team. He's so calm. He controls a lot of the tempo. He can build them going forward, but he's also able to settle them down and just play. And as you said, just great to see him on the score sheet, get a goal for himself. Just such a huge part of the team. You see him leading his team in the huddle before they go out to their positions. Such a huge part of this Bethlehem team.
Well, when we were having conversations with Brendan Burke at the beginning of the season when Chambers wasn't available, he was always mentioning how it hurts to not have him on the field. And while you have a lot of these youngsters running around, the Dawson McCartneys, the Matt Reals, you need somebody like Chambers, just so versatile in the game of football, has so much experience to be able to have that calming presence, and now back on the field. And we do have a substitute at halftime, and it's Joseph Samuel coming on at the half for Brendan Burke. He got the start in the game against Charleston, so now getting to run around here for 45 minutes. And it looks like he replaced Chris Nanko, so he will be on the right side as Nanko's day is done at halftime. Joseph Samuel is the substitute, as there appears to be no changes for Harrisburg on the other side. So that's how we're going to move into the second half, and the second 45 minutes of this Keystone Rivalry installment is underway here at Goodman Stadium on the campus of Lehigh University in southeastern Pennsylvania, just 89 miles east from Harrisburg. Tyler Terrens, along with former Virginia Tech Hokie Morgan Conklin on this Memorial Day. Thanks for joining us here, as Bethlehem right now looking to see out these last 45 minutes, maybe get the insurance goal. And goals in general have really eluded them, but rarely have they been in front and able to try and seal the game with an insurance goal. So we'll see how this young group responds.
And that's a difficult task. So much time to play against a Harrisburg team that continues to send numbers forward, continues to create, So definitely a difficult task, but it's good to see Bethlehem up 1-0 right now.
Quick throw in here. Wilson getting to the byline, sends it across the face of goal, but it's only that, as nobody on the end of it for Harrisburg, as a number of City Islanders claiming that there should have been a deflection resulting in a corner, but the head referee, Lauren Varga, pointing to the 6, and it will be a goal kick for Jake McGuire.
And the key right now, it's obviously still really early, but just for Bethlehem to be able to get back into the form they were in, be able to establish their style of play. Right off the kickoff, they had that foul, so they had to give up the ball, and then we're in transition and defending. So it's a key part for them now just to be able to keep the ball and then try to possess and build off that first half.
Bethlehem haven't collected all 3 points in a match since a 1-0 win over Toronto FC2. That game was up in North Country, and that was after a 3-game road trip featuring TFC as well as Charleston and Cincinnati. And then they came back as there's a foul in a dangerous area right outside of the box. So this is a very good opportunity for the Pennsylvania team out of Harrisburg to try to equalize here, as this will sort of be a makeshift corner on an angle for the City Islanders. You can see the meeting of the minds trying to discuss exactly what's going on here and what they're going to try to pull off for this set piece. You can see there Real just hooking Ribeiro, and Ribeiro very large in size and can give defenders all sorts of problems, especially if you're on the smaller side. And Matt Real, not necessarily a small defender, but smaller in comparison to Ribeiro, as it looks like the lefty's going to be on top of the free kick here.
I think most people are smaller in comparison to Ribeiro.
Ribeiro going for goal, but the ball always going over the goal, and it'll be a goal kick coming, much to the delight of the East End Army, who has been very present early on, as you can also see the Capital City crew present at Goodman Stadium. Both teams supported extremely well here. And you can hear the percussion section of the East End Army constantly giving their team something to play for. Kone dispossessed, but it will stay with Bethlehem. See 17-year-old Matt Real, who had a very nice first half, and really since entering the starting lineup, he's produced nothing but good things for Brendan Burke, and why not keep starting him if he's producing good results?
And I know we keep saying how young they are, but it almost doesn't become important because they're not playing like they're graduating high school.
Nice touch from Samuel. Kone in on goal. Kone with the shot, and Kone scores. Bethlehem doubles their delight here at Goodman. Sekou Kone gets the tally, and Bethlehem's up 2-0.
And just a beautiful slip run in behind Kone. Takes a quick peek and sees where he wants to go with it. Pushes it to that far post. That was the run they had been missing, the little slip run. Harrisburg has done it a couple times earlier. Bethlehem flips the switch. Able to find Kone through. Who better? Who better to put that ball away than Kone? Just so solid. Simple finish for him.
And we mentioned earlier, when Kone does get into the area, he is absolutely devastating, so poised in the box. And when you give a man of that caliber, that sort of space, there's only one thing that's going to happen, and the ball's going to be in the back of the net.
And just the little slip run in behind. He knows where he wants to run, so he knows when he gets the ball where he'll be. So he just took a quick look up early on, and by the time the ball's at his feet, he's ready to just hit it, put it to the corner where he knows it's going to go.
Sekou Kone gets the goal. Yosef Samuel, the substitute, probably one of his first touches on the ball, gets the assist to Kone as Kone gets his 5th goal of the season. Leads Bethlehem in that category and starting to quickly creep up the USL standings in that category, as Mendoza forcing a corner, and Bethlehem have to deal with this set piece from Harrisburg, who are really going to be in scramble mode. You can see the sense of urgency from a team that hasn't won since April 15th against Bethlehem, on their heels here at Goodman Stadium. And it's certainly going to be a nitty-gritty 40 minutes for the City Islanders, as Chambers unable to hang on to that one. Wilson trying to get the delivery across. Ribeiro with a nice touch, but there comes Corey Burke, and Burke able to win a throw-in.
I think if Wilson gets that short corner again, keep it. Keep the ball, take on Chambers. Chambers isn't the quickest player on the field, probably not used to 1v1 defending out wide, as he's normally a central player, so take him on. Get closer so that ball is more dangerous.
Here's Samuel again, assisting on the Kone goal. Now here's Kone, looking for the bid switch across to the Jamaican international Corey Burke, working on James Thomas. Trying to find Samuel. McClaws with a neat little backheel to get out of trouble. And McClaws will clear. Very savvy outside back for Bill Betcher. Trebet with a nice touch over to McCartney. Here's the initial goal scorer, Chambers, has his pass cut out. But Chambers doing good to atone for his sins there. And it goes out wide for Aaron Jones, number 19, striding forward with great purpose. Jones out wide for Samuel. Trebet has his pass cut out, ricochets off of Wilson. But Wilson dispossessed by Trebet. Hugh Roberts finding Samuel, who has tons of space yet again. McCartney back for Samuel. And Bethlehem with a 2-goal cushion, very much in control of this game, and at home, why not take your time, possess the ball, and make City chase for a little bit.
And this was some of the possession we saw in the Charleston game, but they needed to push forward more. Now it's a little more acceptable because there's no need to push forward for a goal right away. They can just sit back and possess, and Bethlehem's a team that usually outpossesses their opponents. They're a team that's really good at connecting passes and being patient. So now that they have the 2-goal cushion, it kind of suits and fits more to their strengths, which is just keeping the ball.
Well, here's Aaron Jones with Mendoza nipping at his heels. Trebet. McCartney. McCartney still with it. Delivers a service, cut out by Calvano, as do have a foul called by head referee Varga. Not much Sean Lewis could do about either of the goals scored against him early on. Kone's placement was world class, and Chambers' goal was a point-blank shot after a disastrous mistake at the back from Calvano. McClaws just clipping it forward, forcing a header out of McKenzie, and it's a throw-in for the City Islanders. McClaws taken down, no foul, but the referee does point in the direction of the City Islanders, who have another throw-in. Albeit down 2-0 on the road. Olabi'i. Here's Ribeiro. Matched up with Hugh Roberts, through the legs of Roberts, hoping for Mendoza. And Mendoza taking down Aaron Jones, who is with Mendoza every step of the way.
Great recovery there by Jones as Roberts was out and slid out to be with Ribeiro to stay with the play, stay with his runner, because that's a dangerous ball. Once again, another run coming through from Mendoza. It's proved to be dangerous earlier this game. Continues on with his run, but Jones was there to stop it.
Well, him and Thomas have been very active, but once they get to the byline, there really doesn't seem to be anybody in the box to be able to link up for a service. Ribeiro's usually there, but he's making the run towards the front post. Do City Islanders need to do a bit better job of just in terms of filling the box with numbers?
Absolutely, getting numbers forward, because like you said, Ribeiro's there, but usually he's trying to make a run and timing it. So if his isn't completely on, the timing isn't right, then it looks like there's nobody in the box. So, and if they don't hit him right in the feet. So obviously the more numbers Harrisburg can send forward when they have those runs. If you have runners like that who can be dangerous, why not send more players forward?
Let's go Steel is the chant here at Lehigh University. As Bethlehem with a 2-0 lead after goals from Chambers and Kone. As Chambers surrenders possession there, another throw-in for the City Islanders. If they've been trying to find a goal to cut Bethlehem's lead in half. McClaws. Cut out initially by McKenzie. Nice touch from McCartney to hang on to it. Calvano keeps it for the City Islanders. But that pass goes all the way over the end line, and a goal kick coming for Jake McGuire, who's been tested a couple of times, but since about the 30-35 minute mark really hasn't had much to do. Offsides flag is up on the near side. And Harrisburg continue to play that high line despite getting burned a couple of times by Kone initially. Nanko burnt them once. Do you think it's a bit too high for Bill Betcher's squad?
I think it depends on the situation where the ball is. I think right there with the quick turnover, McCartney was able to win it and then tried to play Kone through quickly, and he was caught offsides because he didn't step with the line. So I think if it's a quick turnover, but it has to be a split-second decision, and obviously if they're caught, they're in a difficult position.
Ball intended for McClaws, but nicely cut out by McKenzie on the far side. City's starting to get away a little bit from what they had been doing in the first half, which was trying to link up with Ribeiro. They're just trying to go route one, and when your number 9 striker up top isn't that fleet of foot, it's going to be very difficult to try to get on the end of those. As Bethlehem are happy to have the City Islanders continually take route one. Chambers keeping it for Brendan Burke's side. Looks like we have an injured player on the far side of Goodman Stadium. Looks to be Paul Wilson, who's the man in question. And that'll bring the City Islander physio out on the field. And it looks like Wilson's day will be done here in the 59th minute, and it'll be DePrima who's coming on to replace him. So our featured player, Paul Wilson, the number 10 for Bill Betcher, not able to continue. It'll be number 14, DePrima, to come on and replace him here in the 60th. DePrima, 25 years of age, played his college ball at North Carolina State. As Hugh Roberts a bit too calm, cool, and collected on that one as Ribeiro almost dispossessed him. Offsides flag is up on the near side as Sekou Kone came back into the play from an offside position. Almost an hour played here at Goodman Stadium. Bethlehem up 2-0 thanks to goals from Chambers and Sekou Kone on either side at halftime. Kone is 5th of the season. Chambers his first goal since September 18th of 2016 against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. As here's Corey Burke's speed on display. Burke sends it across, and it's held on by Sean Lewis.
You could see Burke had the right idea, wasn't able to pull the cross back enough. But I think also if he can have Kone show maybe to feet, get in front of a defender and show to feet, I think that would suit Burke a little better. Then they could play make together because Burke isn't a typical wide player isn't just going to stay wide and send crosses in. So either he needs to bring that ball back diagonally or just combine defeat with Kone.
Well, he wasn't his off foot there, and he might have been trying to bend it behind the defense and put it into an area for Kone to run onto, but just not able to get that bending action on it. City Islanders starting to press much higher up the field as Ribeiro dispossesses Roberts, who again is a bit too slow on the ball. Slipped through. Roberts able to shield off to Prima. And McGuire off his line in a hurry, as there are some nervy moments here for Bethlehem, who after scoring the second goal look a little bit too relaxed.
Yeah, Roberts is always a player that's very calm on the ball and makes things look simple, but at that point I think he just wasn't paying attention and definitely needed to get the ball off of his foot. That's going to be the breakdowns that give Harrisburg an opportunity to put one away, is just the simple not paying attention or the simple giveaways that don't need to happen.
Burke doing well to hang on to it. The referee says play on. Real brings it down. Real splitting two defenders. Back out for Kone. Pass intended for Chambers by Kone. Samuel giving Muhammad some problems in the back. Long ball sent ahead. McGuire off of his line. Does nicely, and it lands at the feet of Dawson McCartney. However, McCartney gives it right back. Here's McClaws pushing forward. Ribeiro holding off Trebet. Wants to get on that strong left foot. Real doing a very good job of just giving Ribeiro all that he can handle. Ball through for Kone. And it is offside, as you could see him just trying to time that run perfectly, as City Islanders line has really moved up as we've progressed through the second half.
Yeah, even you asked me about it a couple minutes ago, and since then they've moved it up about 5 to 10 yards, and it's proven to work. I don't know if that's something they can continue to do, is moving it higher and higher.
Here's Thomas, shoved off the ball by Roberts. Trebet out wide for Real. Corey Burke working with some options here on the left wing. Slipping it through. Real giving chase, as well as McClaws, who gets there first. Poor clearance from Lewis. McCartney looking for an avenue to shoot, and it just skips wide of the far post as Lewis pats his chest saying, "My bad." And indeed it was. It was almost a disastrous giveaway from the 25-year-old keeper out of Michigan.
And that was a really good time to press from Bethlehem, getting Real forward. Joseph Samuel continued to step in close from his side, which forced that giveaway right to McCartney, who was in a great position on the defensive side, just waiting for that giveaway. But that was a really good time. Bethlehem didn't need to press, but it's now the game is just picking and choosing when they stay in their line of confrontation and when to step out of it, and that was a great moment to go for it.
Well, and we've certainly talked about this before, just teams not being able to sit in and put 11 players behind the ball because you leave your back line and your keeper exposed on more occasions than not. As here's Thomas trying to cut it back. Hugh Robertson on the mix. Here's a shot from Olabi'i. And it took a deflection, and it will be a corner coming for the City Islanders, who have had little signs of life as of late. Perhaps trying to get back in via set piece.
And Thomas creating once again, that time off the dribble, trying to find Olabi'i in the middle. Didn't have time to take a touch, so he had to hit it first time, and they were able to work for a corner.
Ribeiro trying to flick the corner on. Goes back out for Mendoza. Looped in. And it was Nishanian who was in on the mix, but unable to get the power behind the header. Claws will go all the way back to Lewis. 66th minute here at Goodman Stadium. Bethlehem with a 2-0 lead thanks to goals from Chambers and Kone. Joseph Samuel providing the assist on the Kone goal, and James Chambers was unassisted but nicely orchestrated by Aaron Jones, who provided the initial delivery after a bad mistake at the back from Calvano. And it has to be mentioned that Harrisburg are operating without a couple of normal starters in the attacking third, and that may be why they've looked out of sorts at times going forward with the ball.
Yeah, but they've looked really good, especially with Ribeiro. He's been a good option for them. I don't think they've been on the wrong page too many times. I think just their attack has just been stopped going forward. I think they have had the right ideas, but you never know. If Wheeler was in the game, would he maybe have a little better chemistry with some of the players out there? I mean, you never know. He is in the 18, so we could still see him on the field today.
Well, again, Harrisburg does have a midweek match coming up on May 31st. It's a U.S. Open Cup match for the right to play the Philadelphia Union at Talon Energy Stadium, so perhaps Bill Betcher keeping that in mind with regards to minutes. As DePrima striding forward, it goes out wide. Back for DePrima. DePrima sends it across, but it's on the wrong side of the net. And it'll be a goal kick for McGuire, but good move there from the City Islanders.
DePrima proving to be a little spark right there, coming in, creating off the dribble, moving off the ball. I think his movement and the way he was difficult to defend. You didn't know where he was going to go. That's really just a spark that he just brought in for Harrisburg.
There you saw Bethlehem Steel manager Brendan Burke, who certainly has to be pleased with the way his team has performed up until now. Still plenty of time, though, for the City Islanders to try and get back in and possibly equalize in the remaining 23 minutes or so. Olabi'i up strong for the header. Here's Muhammad trying to go out wide as Trebet looked like he got a hand to it, but no call from the head referee, Lauren Varga. And Ken Trebet letting Joseph Samuel have it as he let that run out of bounds, although it was going to be City Islander ball, and it is. Dabo. It's Calvano. Bethlehem looking to operate in transition. Sekou Kone is offside. And that City Islander back line continues to creep up almost right on top of the midfield line.
That's the closest I see to it being hidden. I don't see anyone else on the bench.
And every time Harrisburg give the ball up, Morgan, it's Bethlehem looking to counter on the other end and get that third goal and really put away the City Islander team. But Kone hasn't been able to get the timing just right with that pass yet.
Well, he has to take that offside trap into account now. It's been way too many times that it's happened. He has to know that it's going to be there and hold his run.
Thomas trying to chip it through for Olabi'i, making pleas for a handball, but Varga not having any of it, the head referee, as Corey Burke getting pulled back, looking for a foul, not going to get it, and just simply stopped playing. Harrisburg will keep the ball into the 70th minute now at Goodman Stadium. Real finding the feet of Kone, who comes back to receive this ball. Sent through for McCartney, needs to try to keep it in. And Nishanian had his hands up, and it will be City Islander ball. Muhammad trying to curl it into the channel for Ribeiro, but as we've mentioned time and time again, Morgan, his strength is not exactly being sent into space, but it's receiving the ball at his feet and then linking up with his 10 as well as his 8 in the middle of the field and then going from there.
Yeah, I don't think sending Ribeiro to the corner is the best option because, one, Harrisburg hasn't had that many players working off of him, so if you do send him to the corner, he hasn't had runners around him. But also, as you said, he's not the quickest player on the field. He's more of a back-to-goal, strong forward that can lay off and then be played through. So I don't think sending him to the corner is always the best option.
Samuel doing well here. Lewis all the way off his line, maybe got a hand to it. Corey Burke going for the chip. And it's going to go over the bar. Good opportunity, though, for Bethlehem. And with Harrisburg playing that high line, it's no wonder why Lewis is that far away from goal.
I love that run-in by Samuel, trying to get a touch on it, but just that heads-up play by Burke to be able to try to chip that in from range. It did look like Lewis may have gotten a hand on it, the way he came out, difficult to see from our angle, but I love the follow-up by Burke.
Good challenge in from Corey Burke. Joseph Samuel off to the races. 3v3. Samuel slipping it through for Burke. Great pass, but a bigger stop from Lewis. Chance still on here for Bethlehem as Burke just whips it in. Goes past everybody, but what a big save from Lewis to keep it a 2-goal game.
Just a beautiful setup by Samuel, the perfect slip ball. Burke times his run perfectly around, but what a save by Lewis to get low and big. Beautiful save there.
Well, keepers aren't exactly working on their conditioning day in and day out, as it looked like City Islander player may have gone down on the far side. He's out of the field to play. The referee not exactly aware of what's going on, turning his head, trying to get a sense for what the situation is, as Samuel trying to fend off a couple of City Islander players, and it will be a throw-in for Harrisburg. And it looked like it was Mendoza on the far side who's receiving some medical attention. So Harrisburg playing with 10 men at the moment. However, on the move, Olabi'i matched up 1v1 with McKenzie. For the overlapping McClaws. McClaws centering back for DePrima. DePrima, the shot blocked in front by Aaron Jones. A great defensive play by the 23-year-old. But it'll be a corner brick for Harrisburg City.
I love that overlapping run coming in from McClaws. The beautiful ball coming all the way back diagonal, trying to get to DePrima. Earns him a corner. I think that run, the overlapping run from the outside back, and that diagonal ball is so dangerous because it's so difficult to defend, especially when you have an attacker running forward onto it.
McClaws on top of the corner. McGuire gets one fist to it. Thomas lining it up, but always going over the bar and wide. And it'll be a goal kick for McGuire. Can't say enough about Aaron Jones, though, because it was such a good move from Harrisburg. But right at the last, Jones just able to step in and followed his runner the entire way. And as a former outside back, I'm sure you can appreciate that.
Yeah, because I've also seen the other side of it when you don't. But yeah, I mean, fantastic defense. Jones has been so great. Going back to Charleston, he was outstanding, so solid. Getting forward, but also obviously on the defensive side of things. He's just such a strong defender for Bethlehem, and today's no different.
Burke up for his second strong header in a row. Now for the aforementioned Jones. Jones trying to cut it back, working on Muhammad. Still with it, trying to get the service in. Samuel, who ends up coming away with it. Chambers clips it in. Up for the header was Kone. Dabo in some trouble here, gets it to Muhammad. Neat little touch to hang on to it. Through the legs of Samuel, stumbling. And it will be a foul on Joseph Samuel, who assisted on the Sekou Kone goal. And we'll be able to take a deep breath here, as it looks like Josue Monhe coming on and replacing Dawson McCartney, as the 18-year-old's day will be done here in the 75th. So a nice shift from McCartney. And allow for Monhe to come on, who came on as a substitute in the game against Charleston and was lively, but obviously didn't come to anything tangible, as they would end up falling 1-0 to Charleston. But a good opportunity for Monhe here with fresh legs to be able to make an impact and perhaps put the game away. And Dawson McCartney gets a nice round of applause from the Steel faithful at Goodman Stadium, who appreciate good football when they see it, and Dawson McCartney's been playing exactly that.
Yeah, especially only his second start, but stepping into that attacking midfield role can be a little intimidating. It's a big role to play, but he did a great job stepping up, creating, connecting, and also got forward a couple times.
Nice little slip ball through DePrima. Ken Trebet working on him. McClaw's trying to hang on to it, but swarmed by a number of Bethlehem jerseys. Now here's Burke in some space. Going to put a foot on it, trying to find Aaron Jones, but that one in between Jones and Samuel.
Well, as that play built up, you could see Burke with the ball at his feet. You could see Kone on the far side starting his run, but the line with Harrisburg stopped. And you could see Kone kind of see that and then start to pull his run back. So he's trying to be aware of the offsides trap. At that point, it was only about 3 yards off midfield. So he's trying to be aware of it. Bethlehem was smart not to play him at that moment, but obviously they couldn't maintain possession.
And it looks like Mendoza will be done. We saw him getting medical attention on the far side of Goodman Stadium earlier in Harrisburg's defensive third and being carried over to the bench as his day is done in the 77th. And it'll be Aaron Wheeler coming on, replacing Rashid Olabi as well. Bad giveaway here from the City Islanders. Corey Burke trying to find Sekou Kone, who's looking to double his delight on the evening, but just out of his reach. And Sean Lewis, who has really been spectacular, just trying to keep Harrisburg somewhat in the game, off his line yet again. Poor pass there from Muhammad. Yosef Samuel for Kone, and his touch a bit too heavy. And Lewis able to collect again as the City Islanders getting a little bit too lazy in the back there with a couple of their passes.
Too heavy of a touch there from Kone, but why doesn't Samuel just keep it? If he can get on top of the ball, keep it low, he can hit a good shot. Why not get one on frame for yourself?
The City Islanders with numbers forward. McClaws. Service denied by Matt Real, who continues to put in solid minutes for Brendan Burke. Plays collegiate ball at Wake Forest next year alongside his center back partner right now, Mark McKenzie. McClaws into the area. A makeshift diving header there from Hugh Roberts. Lining up the shot was Muhammad, as it was always going wide, closing off those hips right at the last. And it'll be a goal kick coming for Bethlehem, who are a little bit more than 12 minutes away from claiming their first 3 points since a win on the road against Toronto FC 2 a few weeks ago. And what a big win it would be for Brendan Burke's side, who has continually played good football, as we've mentioned before, Morgan, but it hasn't resulted in 3 points just yet, but they're very close to locking up a very big win.
Yeah, and it would be a big win. They're going to have to fight this one out now, bringing in for Harrisburg Aaron Wheeler. That's obviously an attacking substitution to made. They've dropped Ribeiro a little deeper, so he'd be underneath Wheeler. So now you have 2 big targets that you have to defend. And they can look maybe to play more of those longer balls now, having another target to help Ribeiro up top.
So Matt Real going in the book there, being shown mustard on the hard challenge on Aaron Wheeler. And it'll be a set piece opportunity for Harrisburg. It looks like it's going to be Sean McClaws on top of it in his second season with Harrisburg. Played his college ball at Coastal Carolina. As a couple of the Bethlehem defenders getting their instruction from Jake McGuire, who's organizing a 2-man wall. Into the 80th minute, McClaws on top of the free kick. It's a good ball in as Roberts gets there first. Thomas bringing it down. Back for DePrima. DePrima with the shot, and DePrima scores. Harrisburg are right back in it as they cut Bethlehem's lead in half. It's a fantastic strike from DePrima as he's able to keep it down. 2-1 at Goodman Stadium.
And that's one of those fantastic diagonal balls back. DePrima just gets on top of it, keeps it low, and just crushes that ball from right outside the 18. That is why those diagonal balls backwards are so dangerous. DePrima comes forward with his momentum, is able to get on top of it, keeps it low, and just is able to strike it.
So a big call from Danny DePrima. Substitute came on a little bit more than 20 minutes ago and making a very real impact here, as now Bethlehem truly need to see this one out, only up by a goal. Harrisburg do fancy the dramatics. They've had a couple of late winners as well as equalizers throughout the season. And there might be more in store here at Lehigh University, as DePrima have really gotten them back in this one. Great strike in the 79th. And it's going to be a nervy 9 minutes or so for the Bethlehem contingency. Nice flick on from Wheeler. Here's Thomas, looking to work on Aaron Jones. Foul on the far side that has the Harrisburg bench up in arms. And it will be a yellow card for Corey Burke, so 2 Bethlehem players booked in about 2 minutes. Real being the first, and now Corey Burke going into Lauren Varga's book in the 82nd minute, and the Capital City crew starting to sense blood a little bit here. Claus on top of the free kick. It's a loop ball. Wheeler gets there. And Wheeler will be called for the foul, as the referee is saying that he pushed off a little bit in order to create that space. DePrima's first goal of the season, making this one in Bethlehem extremely interesting. And Bethlehem have certainly had their chances to put this game away, but a couple of huge saves from Sean Lewis, one coming off of his line and then denying Sekou Kone from point-blank range. It's given them the opportunity to try and get a point.
And their biggest thing is just connecting passes, keeping the ball. Don't give it away if you don't have to.
Well, the youngsters on Bethlehem are really going to be tested now in a bit of a hostile environment in a Keystone rivalry. Now up a goal, having to see out a game in the last 10 minutes. A great opportunity for a number of these young players, but this is where the calming presence of James Chambers and Ken Trebet comes into play.
Just the way they are on the ball. This is when they need to set the tone. When they get the ball, they need to find the other side. Just be calm, because it's been a little frantic since before that Harrisburg goal and then obviously after. But Bethlehem just needs to settle down, establish their play, and just keep the ball. Make Harrisburg chase the rest of this game.
Harrisburg are doing just that as it goes all the way back to McGuire, and he thumps it back towards the other end of Goodman. Real trying to bring it down. So Poku giving him problems. Poku replacing Johnny Mendoza. Ribeiro slipping it through for DePrima, but a good job from Aaron Jones, who tracked him the entire way, shields him off, and allows McGuire to come scoop it up.
Aaron Jones coming up big once again. Just great using his body as a shield, keeping the ball there from getting to DePrima, who's proven that he can put one away if he's given the chance.
Well, Bethlehem have really gotten away from the possession in the late stages of this one. But a lot has to do with the sense of urgency that Harrisburg has had, as Kone strips a City Islander defender. And now called for the foul as McClaws came back nicely. Muhammad stripped from behind. Monhe getting in on the action, falls to Calvano. Monhe came up a little bit lame there on that play. Dabo shielding off Monhate. And Calvano shoved from behind, and it'll be a set piece right in the middle of the pitch here for Harrisburg, who has proven already once that they can score from a set piece. It was a little bit of a broken play that's a prima goal, but it did come via a corner kick. And now McClaws, their set piece specialist, lining this one up as the City Islanders looking for another late equalizer in this 2017 campaign. Doesn't get past Chambers, but McClaws sends it back in with his noggin. Still bouncing around. Wheeler brings it down, and his shot blocked in front. But it will be a corner, and another opportunity for the City Islanders to try to equalize. Bethlehem on their heels at the moment. Backs against the wall.
And with the targets that Harrisburg has in Ribeiro, Wheeler, Calvano, Bethlehem has to be able to clear this.
It's another good ball in from McClaws. It falls, but Monhate, it's an elevator shaft home run. It doesn't really go anywhere. Corey Burke comes away with it. It's going to stay in play. Burke still trying to get rid of it. And Harrisburg doing a very good job of keeping Bethlehem in their own end.
Just the high pressure, not letting Bethlehem clear it.
This is the passion you love to see out of a derby match. Wheeler turning, firing, but hitting it over the crossbar. And Wheeler has had one thought on his mind since entering the game, and that's trying to find the equalizer.
And just the way he brings that down, he's trying to turn as he hits that ball. Hits it way over. No shot of that even going on frame, but he hit that with his back to goal. So Wheeler has to have a defender on his back, and if they can even double one on the other side to not allow him to even let the ball come off of his foot, because obviously if he can get a pretty good look on frame, obviously hit it over, but the right target, right idea, without even facing the goal, they can't give him any space.
Looks like Josh Hurd is going to be the player to replace Sekou Kone, who put in his work today, 88 minutes worth. He got the goal that is the game winner at the moment. And it'll be up to Hurd and company to try to see this one out. Trebet unable to keep it in play, and now the City Islanders really scrambling here. The great sets of urgency to try to get a point. They've tied their last 3 matches in USL play, as well as a draw in the US Open Cup, and ended up advancing through PKs. Wheeler keeps it in play. McClaws across, but McGuire able to hang on to it. That was a very good opportunity, and somebody who is extremely technical with his play, Sean McClaws, usually will do better with that, but not on this occasion.
Well, and just McClaws has proven to be so dangerous getting forward from his outside back position. Tries to hit it on the half volley, the half bounce, but just doesn't pull it back enough. He's been so dangerous getting forward.
Here's the substitute Hurd along with Monhate. Holding off Calvano. And it will be Harrisburg throwing.
Bethlehem having so much trouble just keeping the ball, whether it's keeping it in the corner or keeping it and possessing. They're having so much trouble with that.
We're getting word now from the 4th official that we'll have 4 minutes of stoppage time, so plenty of time for Harrisburg to try to get back in to this second edition of the Bethlehem-Harrisburg version of the Keystone rivalry. Thomas held off by Chambers. Corey Burke giving chase, and he's been very active. Just need one of those on the field here. Ribeiro holding it up like he's done all game. Thomas with a big touch into space. Thomas trying to get around Samuel, pleading for a handball. He's not going to get it. And Chambers able to clear, but Thomas looking very dangerous, like he has for all 90 minutes thus far, as Muhammad and Corey Burke getting into it on the sideline. Chambers encouraging his team onward, as well as Muhammad.
Burke doing a good job of coming back and being the target when his team tries to clear. That's what they need to do in order to keep possession, is when this Bethlehem team tries to clear it, like Chambers did just then. They need somebody like Burke or a player getting on the other end of the ball just to hold it up, to give them a chance to move forward and break this pressure from Harrisburg, because they're having a lot of difficulty doing that right now.
Corey Burke cramping up a little bit, just had to stretch it out, and we'll resume play at Goodman Stadium. First minute of stoppage time in the books. 3 more. Calvano doesn't need to worry about the situation at hand because it was blown offside. Here's McClaws. Linking up with Ribeiro. Now Dabo. Clipping it forward for Muhammad. Muhammad trying to send it into the area. Blocked in front by Samuel. Both of them up strong for the header. Falls to Dabo, whose touch isn't exactly clean there. Chambers trying to send Corey Burke into space, and he does just that. Matched up 1v1. The Jamaican putting all the moves on, trying to skip away. And here's Hurd trying to get a shot off, and he's fouled in the box, and it'll be a penalty. Great individual play from Corey Burke. Josh Hurd follows it up, and an opportunity for Bethlehem to put it away here in stoppage time.
And normally Burke does not have to go forward there, but he sees the opportunity, goes forward. Hurd absolutely gets taken out, goes to try to finish that ball. Bethlehem the opportunity to get another on the board.
Well, it was Danny DePrima who cut the lead in half for Bethlehem, who ends up fouling Josh Hurd. And now it'll be Corey Burke to put it away and give Bethlehem all 3 points. And Burke does it. Corey Burke sealing 3 points up for Bethlehem at Goodman Stadium. It's a massive win for Bethlehem. Their first in 3 weeks. 3 points for the Steel in this edition of the Keystone Rivalry.
Burke just so confident, knows where he wants to go, steps up, pushes it to the right side, leads his team once again. He set that all up. Instead of going to the corner, he decided to push forward, saw Hurd getting forward, decided to play him in, and then he steps up and puts it away.
So a huge goal from Corey Burke, huge 3 points for Bethlehem, and Harrisburg, who gave everything they had leading up until that point, absolutely devastated with this result. As Brendan Burke and company will steal all 3 points away from this one. Have to give credit to the City Islanders, though, who really gave Bethlehem a run for their money after being on their heels for the majority of their game. DePrima got them back into it with a great fizzing goal from the top of the box. But Corey Burke in transition, able to dice up the defender. It fell to Hurd, who was fouled from behind by DePrima. And then Burke able to step up and put it away for Bethlehem, who secured their first 3 points since the win against Toronto FC2 on the road in Canada. As the City Islanders trying to get one back here, as we are just approaching the last of the 4 minutes of stoppage time, as Wheeler unable to get around the defender. And the referee, Lauren Varga, has to have the final whistle on his mind now. Last opportunity here for Harrisburg as it goes all the way back for Dabo. Just a formality now as Thomas takes a touch out of bounds, and this surely has to be the last kick from McGuire. As the East End Army elated right now with their team's performance against the Harrisburg team. Still points away from them back at FMB Field on April 15th. And Bethlehem will even the season series with Harrisburg, and for the first time in club history will defeat the City Islanders and take all 3 points. And that's going to do it from Goodman. Bethlehem, thanks to Sekou Kone, Corey Burke, as well as James Chambers and company, take all 3 points out of this edition of the Keystone Rivalry. Corey Burke sealed the deal with a penalty. In the 4 minutes of stoppage time, James Chambers was brilliant in the middle of the field, as always, for Brendan Burke's side. And it is all smiles from the East End Army. Final score from Goodman Stadium, Bethlehem 3, Harrisburg 1. We'll have final stats and highlights when we come back.
You've lived with it for too long. That recurring joint or muscle pain that makes everyday tasks a strain and repetitive movement almost impossible. Put it off. The sooner you seek treatment, the more options you'll have. The faster you'll be back in full stride. The latest non-surgical solutions. The region's only nationally ranked program. That's Orthopedics in Action at Lehigh Valley Health Network.
The Lehigh Valley's largest selection of new and certified pre-owned vehicles in one location is Rothrock. We have over 1,000 vehicles to choose from, an award-winning service team, ultra-modern facilities for comfort and convenience, and the best deals in the Valley. During the Drive and Discover event, drive Ram Bighorn Crew Cab or Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Sport. Your choice, only $249 a month. That's right, Ram or Wrangler, only $249 a month at Rothrock. Rothrock, Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, family-owned and operated for over 57 years. Rothrock, where the cars are.
The first soccer ball was kicked in Bethlehem in 1904. Now, 112 years later, it's time for the rebirth of Bethlehem Steel FC. Herber's in the box, and there's the first goal in Steel FC history. For tickets, visit BethlehemSteelFC.com or call 844-STEEL-FC.
Full time at Goodman Stadium as Brendan Burke thanking his team for very hard fought 90 minutes and 3 points, and they certainly deserved it as they were very composed throughout the entire match, although a little bit nervy at times in the last 10 minutes. They were able to come away with the 3 points, and this was a very open match right from the get-go, Morgan.
Yeah, Corey Burke had a lot of success early, out wide on the wing, trying to get inside, but Chris Nanko also using his speed early on, only played in the first half, but had a couple of really good opportunities going forward.
Both teams would had opportunities, as this would be one of the better ones for Harrisburg in the first half, as McClaw was just not able to get enough on it. And the chances will continue to come and go for Bethlehem, as Muhammad getting up for the header, denying Sekou Kone's cross. Jamie Thomas was busy all game, but Harrisburg were just unable to find the breakthrough, but James Chambers finally did for Bethlehem.
Just a really poor clearance from Calvano. Chambers able to follow up his initial header, find the ball to the back of the net.
First goal for James Chambers since September 18th of 2016, and you can see what it means to the Irish captain. And here's Kone's goal, as it was a superb finish from the Liberian.
Just a perfectly placed ball in there by Samuel. Knows where he wants to go with it and just pushes it to the corner.
Chances would continue to come for Bethlehem as they were on the front foot for the majority of the second half, but Harrisburg slowly but surely would start to creep their way back into this game.
Just high pressure from both teams, proved to be really dangerous. DePrima coming in was a big change for Harrisburg, brought such a spark for them.
And Sean Lewis was able to keep things at a 2-goal game, and he would make a couple of big saves, and this was the goal from DePrima. Really a great strike.
Just a nice layoff from Thomas, right to him, gets on top of the ball, power behind the strike. DePrima, beautiful finish.
And this would be the nervy moment that we were talking about. First goal of the season for DePrima, but it would be this moment that would seal the deal for Bethlehem as Josh Hurd gets taken down to the box.
Burke choosing to go forward rather than just holding the ball in the corner. Sees Hurd coming forward, definitely a PK, and just Burke stepping up, confident, puts it away.
What a way to finish for Bethlehem as they sign autographs and pose for pictures and selfies and whatnot with the fans who came out here on this beautiful Memorial Day weekend. And we will take a look at the full-time stats now. As you can see, Harrisburg really started to get more of the ball in the second half just when Bethlehem went up 2-0, and shots outbalanced a little bit on Harrisburg's side. Surprised by anything?
I'm surprised by the possession. I think Bethlehem, in their games, they've outpossessed their opponents. Harrisburg has as well, but also with Bethlehem being up 1-0 and then 2-0 throughout the game, I think they should have had more possession because there's no need to push forward at that point. Just continue to pass the ball around and just make simple plays. But they struggled a little bit with that, so I'm surprised by that. I think Harrisburg really found their momentum in the second half. The sub of DePrima coming in kind of changed the game a little bit for them, but obviously it was too little, too late.
Absolutely. Bethlehem, again, with their first ever club win over Harrisburg. Just their second year in the USL and finally getting those 3 points over the City Islanders and their in-state rival in this part of the Keystone rivalry. It was a fantastic day of football at Goodman Stadium. The goal from Chambers, goals from Kone, as well as Corey Burke, as it was a fun-filled evening of football here in the Lehigh Valley. For my producer, Roberto Fernandez, director Jim Clark, our replay operator, Omar Desiree, and for my broadcast partner, Morgan Conklin, I'm Tyler Terrence, saying so long for now with our final score, Bethlehem 3, Harrisburg 1.
The first soccer ball was kicked in Bethlehem in 1904. Now, 112 years later, it's time for the rebirth of Bethlehem Steel FC. Herbert's in the box, and there's the first goal in Steel FC history. For tickets, visit BethlehemSteelFC.com or call 844-STEEL-FC.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent from the United Soccer League.